What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Arrow Season 7, Episode 1, Inmate 4587. So I was not looking forward to getting back to this show, or Supergirl, to be honest, but I'm not gonna lie, this episode's pretty good. The action is on point again, which is something that, you know, typically for this show is really well done. Like, they've got some very good stunt coordinators that make sure the fight scenes are not only realistic but also look just really good. you know, that God, between the fight scene in the bathroom, and then also like the little fight scene with Renee, but the one shot that just made me think, God, this feels like old Arrow, is the one where whoever the new Green Arrow is, you see him shoot the arrow into the back of the stent guy and then pull him over, and just like that slow motion, and then falls into a bunch of like a cardboard wall. It looks fantastic, and it just reminded me of like an old Arrow shot, just the slow mo fighting. I love it. But yeah, I mean, overall, pretty good start to the season. If you did not watch my reviews of last season, just to let you know, I hate Ricardo Diaz as a villain. I think he's not really that intimidating, but he's supposed to be. They try to paint him as this really big bad guy, but they don't explain how he's a big bad guy. They don't explain how, like, why he's able to obtain as much power and influence as he does. He scares people like Laurel Lance, Black Siren, who, even though she could just, scream him away, for some reason she's still intimidated by him. I don't know why. And there's just too many moments like that where it just feels like he was always one step ahead, but with no real explanation. That's one thing I compared him to. Who was the one before? Prometheus. Adrian Chase's Prometheus actually was a good villain. We never really understood how he was always one step ahead. Like, there was no explanation, but you just kind of understood that he knew Oliver so much that he knew what Oliver's next step would be before Oliver knew it, and so he's always able to stay one step ahead the entire way. So I don't know. I really liked what they did with Prometheus, but with Ricardo Diaz, it was kind of the same thing where he was always one step ahead. But it's not because he knew Oliver. It's not because he, seemed super smart. He was just this thug, and he just happened to somehow get control of the entirety of Star City with no real explanation. So I never liked him as a villain. And so far this season, he's still out there, which I thought was ridiculous that he's still kind of a villain. But he only shows up for one scene. Not much happens with him. I am curious to find out how he found the place, and probably not going to get an explanation for it. They're just going to say, oh, because it's Ricardo Diaz. He's just that good. Ooh. I swear, sometimes it's so frustrating whenever screenwriters have no explanation for how their characters do something other than, oh, they're just that good. Like, that's something even Batman sometimes gets guilty of. Like, the writers of Batman, he's that good. He'll be in a life or death situation, no way out, but he'll get out. Why? No explanation. He's just Batman. That's what it feels like they do with Ricardo Diaz, except he's not nearly as cool as Batman. There was also the weird scene where, Felicity does manage to kind of fight him off to give William a chance to, I guess, get out of the room and maybe contact Argus, or maybe Argus was already on the way. But it was kind of funny because, like, you see, first of all, she does call him out on his monologuing because he does love to monologue. But then, like, she manages to get a few good licks in. I'm just like, really, dude? You're getting taken down by Felicity? And all of a sudden he's like, no! I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. And then, like, flips her onto a table. And he whips out a knife. He's like, I'm going to make you suffer for that. And then the next scene is Oliver in the jail getting a call, or getting the what are words? I don't know. He's in his cell, and all of a sudden one of the guards come up to him and is like, "Hey, you got somebody here to visit." So he goes out, and then there's Felicity. And she's like, "Wait a minute, huh?" And she does say, if that Argus team hadn't shown up when they did. But the thing is, it's like, okay, so, but what happened? Like, did Diaz just know that they were on their way, and so he just stopped? Did they show up and he managed to somehow escape, even though there's pretty much no way out? Like, what happened here? It just sort of ended. So I'm kind of curious to know if maybe something happened that they didn't show us, which I'm not putting any stock into at all. Because there was the one time whenever Laurel said some stuff right before the real Laurel died. She said some stuff to Oliver and they hid what she said. And I'm like, ooh, what did she say? I bet they're hiding something from us. Ooh, what was it going to be? And then it turns out she actually did die, and her words were like, I want you to train a new team or something like that. And I'm just like, okay, this is BS. So I'm not putting any stock in the idea that something happened in between those cuts. But if not, then it's a weird cut. 1 second it looks like he's going to make her suffer, like he's going to torture her. Next second she's walking to the prison like nothing happened. So that was weird. Everything else, though, is pretty interesting. You see Oliver, they are doing the typical prison cliche where the guards are corrupt and they're just kind of letting the prisoners do whatever they want. It was a little weird. He does manage to get this one guy taken in because plants a weapon on him. But it was weird how this one group is like three of them, and I think they're all characters that we've seen before. One of them comes up and threatens his family, threatens Felicity and William and saying like, these two, no wonder you're fighting so hard. Why don't you help us in? And maybe you think about your family in this case. So basically says, if you don't help us, we're going to hurt your family. So then he comes over to Oliver. This little weenie guy's been trying to, get with Oliver and just like, hey, help me out here. There's no way I'm going to survive. Which I'm not a big fan of him so far, but we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, he sits next to Oliver and then they start threatening, or they come over to ask him if he's in. And Oliver says, no, and if you threaten my family again, you're going to wish you hadn't. And then they threaten the weenie guy. And I'm just like, wait a minute. So he wouldn't do it when you threaten his family. But yeah, you threaten the little weenie guy. I guess the idea is, oh, we can't hurt your family because we're in here, but we can hurt him right now in front of you. I guess that's what they were going for, but it just came off as weird. It came off as weird that they first threatened his family and then threatened some random guy that he doesn't even really know, So that was a little weird, but I don't know, seeing him in prison, seeing how he's just trying to be a model prisoner so he can get out, but then by the end he realizes that's not really an option anymore. He's got to get out, Basically, he's got to fight back, is what he's decided by the end of it. So, I don't know. I'm curious to see what else they're going to do with the prison. It doesn't feel like Arrow anymore because he's not really a vigilante. But I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what they've got in store for the whole prison thing, how he's going to get out. Because, he's going to get out at some point. He can't just stay in prison the whole season because that would be pointless. But aside from that, we see there's a new Green Arrow. I'm curious to find out who the new Green Arrow is, if it's going to be somebody we know. But I liked where everybody was at the beginning of this episode, too. Like, I like the fact that Renee kind of calmed a little bit, but he still has that side of him that wants to get back out and fight. But yeah, the scene with him at the boxing gym at the beginning when he's talking about being focused and stuff, I'm like, so he's grown. That's cool. But it also makes sense that he wants to help people still. So whenever he gets a chance to help this new Green Arrow, he does, and it ends up benefiting a lot of people. But that does put him at odds with Dinah, who is still, head of the police. I'm not really sure how I feel about their little rivalry going on. I get where she's coming from in that, yeah, this new Green Arrow doesn't make it look good for Oliver, and it could get that FBI agent interested in their cases again. But at the same time, like, if she looked into it, I'm sure she'd be able to be like, okay, so none of them have anything to do with this. So I don't know. I'm kind of seeing both sides. I see Renee's side, but I also see Dinah's side as well. Like, they're both not without their pros and cons. So we'll see where that goes. But John's working at Argus. Also, Curtis is at Argus too, and I love the fact that he's at R&D. Because the thing is, I have no problem with Curtis. My problem was always the fact that he wanted to be a fighter. And that was his big thing. I'm going to be a fighter. I'm going to be out in the field. I hate being behind a computer. It's like, dude, not everybody has to be out in the field. You need your people behind the computer too. So I never liked the fact that he was always trying to get out in the field. So seeing him working R&D at Argus makes a lot of sense. And I think it fits his character too. And then we also see Laurel somehow has become the mayor. Not really sure how that worked. I don't know. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with Laurel as mayor because it's Black Siren Laurel. And then, there's the only other thing is it looks like they're doing no more flashbacks. Now we've got flash forwards. Don't know what's going on there. First I was like, is this a guy we're supposed to know? And then all of a sudden we find out it's older William. And then the guy takes off the hood and he's like, William? I can't tell if that's older Oliver. I kind of looks similar to him. I don't know. I mean, it's weird they're doing flash forwards now because it feels like you're kind of taking some of the suspense out of the rest of these two seasons. Because if that is older Oliver, then, well, we know he survives. And also, we know William makes it too. So if you ever put his life in danger, well, there's no real tension. So I don't know. I hope they have a good reason for doing these flash forwards. I hope there's some good connection that they're trying to build. I get the idea that, okay, well, we've run out of flashbacks now, which pretty sure they ran out of it after season 5, didn't they? I think. I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, overall, not a bad first episode. I actually liked it, which is good for Arrow. It's a good step forward because most of the time I don't like the episodes. But at the same time, I'm also hesitant because these writers have shown that they are willing to make stupid decisions. So yeah, I'm not putting all my faith into they've figured it out, they've solved the problem, they're going to make this season great. But also, I'm a little excited now. So I hope they don't ruin that excitement. But anyways, that's it for this episode. On to the next one. See you there. And now episode 2, Longbow Hunters. There it is. There's the crap that I got used to on Arrow. Not all of it, just the Felicity stuff. That's a Felicity I know. Making stupid decisions and not getting, like, any sort of punishment for it. She has got the most, first of all, prettiest, but also very punchable face. Like, anytime she talks, I cannot believe, like, I still remember when I first started watching this show, like, she was up there. I mean, I'm a huge nerd. So whenever I saw Felicity, I'm like, oh. But now, like, I'm looking back, I'm like, why? Why was I even, attracted to her? Because she's such an annoying piece of crap. And this episode, it's exactly why I hate her. It's exactly why she's the worst. I mean, she basically ruins an Argus mission. What happens? What's her punishment? Nothing. She gets a little on the hand from John, but then she gets to help out on the next mission. But then she makes a mistake on that mission, and then she's the one that leaves Argus. Excuse me for a second. I was going to do a spit take, but then I realized I don't really have anything to clean up, so it's probably not a good idea. But what? She's the one that ruins their operation, that nearly gets John killed because she wants to capture Diaz. And then she leaves Argus. She's the one that chooses to leave Argus behind. Huh? Shouldn't it be, you just ruined our mission. We're going to detain you. Curtis, you're on thin ice. You pull something like this again, you're out. And Renee, get back to wherever you belong. Like, that should have been the reaction. Instead, it's, hey, Felicity, come help us. Curtis, no reprimand. Renee, get out. You know, just, hey, don't make us come for you. Let's just get out of here. No punishments for you guys. We're just angry. We're angry. And then after the thing first of all, the thing on the train, why does it make sense? In her mind, oh, I don't need to separate this train because if I do, Diaz escapes. Guess what? It's John versus Diaz, the big guy, and then the girl that can shoot the darts. All the other men have been taken out. Most of them got taken out by the big guy. And you really think John's going to take all three? You really think that if you don't separate it, like, he's going to be able to bring Diaz in? Are you stupid? He's getting away either way. If you separate the train, he doesn't get the weapon and John survives. So, how does it make any logical sense in your mind? I can't separate the train or get away. And then John comes back and she's just like, you're right. She's like, I can't work with you. If you're not going to go after Diaz, then we can't work together. I'm like, wait, so now you're leaving him? That doesn't make any sense. You're being stupid. But that's kind of what I've come to expect. So, you know, it's nothing. It's not the worst thing that Felicity's ever done, but it's a reminder of why this show is so bad. That's the thing. I think that's why this first episode, the one I watched right before this, I think that's why it was so good. It's because she didn't have any decisions to make. She was just being herself. She had to live a life. She had to be in witness protection. And even at the end, whenever she decided she wanted to fight back, I'm like, okay, that's understandable. She's been living in Witsec for a long time. Yeah, I could see her wanting to be like, no, I want to fight back now. I want to find Diaz. But this episode is just exactly why Felicity's the worst. She's so stupid, makes so many dumb decisions, and then doesn't get penalized for it. It's like she can do no wrong. Aside from that, let's talk about a few things that I got clarified for me in this episode that I was confused about in the last one. So Laurel's not the mayor, she's the district attorney. Makes a bit more sense than her being the mayor. Yeah, she and I like the camaraderie, well, not really camaraderie, but her and Dinah working together makes sense because, Dinah wants to protect the DA. She doesn't give a crap about Laurel, but she knows she needs to keep the DA safe because everybody believes she is the real Laurel Lance. But I do like the fact that they are starting to bond a little bit. I don't know if this is Laurel just putting on an act just to kind of get Dinah off her back, or if this is really Black Siren kind of starting to realize the error of her ways because of Quentin's sacrifice. So, yeah, I'm curious to see where that story goes, but I liked them getting to fight together against the girl, which, by the way, the longbow, the people, I can't remember the name of it now, hang on. The longbow hunters, they're actually a pretty fun group. You got the one girl, the way they broke into that one place was pretty solid. The girl with the darts was good. The big guy with the shield, I don't even know why. He looks awesome. And then the one girl has some awesome device that can like completely cut out sound. And so it was fun to get to see them in action. So the fight between Black Siren and then I don't even remember the name of Dinah now. Black Canary, or just the Canary, I think. But the two of them working together and then breaking her sound barrier, like the fact that the sound barrier was able to cancel out their scream in the first place. I'm really curious how that technology works because it looks and sounds awesome. She just turns it on and you just hear absolutely nothing until she turns it back off. So anyways, but yeah, they were a lot of fun. I thought the train scene was a lot of fun until, Felicity being stupid. And then on top of that, more clarification about the future, because I still had no idea who the guy with the hood was. I'm like, it doesn't look like Oliver. And then started talking about how Oliver and Felicity left William behind, and also he apparently had a boyfriend. Oh, represent the LGBTQ, yeah! It's like everybody in the CW, every other person feels like has a boyfriend or is in a homosexual relationship. Like, and now William apparently is also, sure, whatever. If that's how they want to make their stand, fine. Just don't rub it in my face, please. But no, then all of a sudden he brings up, he's like, last time I saw you, you and my Aunt Thea were running away together. I'm like, oh, that's Roy. Like, he did not look at all like Roy. Like, they did a good job with the old makeup because I could not tell it was him at all. But yeah, I mean, interesting. We're seeing some more developments there on the island. They find where I guess Oliver's stuff was stashed, and apparently there was some note hidden inside the bow that Roy saw and then immediately burned. So I don't know what the note was. I don't know what the fact that the little thing, the chip that led William to Lian Yu was even for. Which, by the way, I mean, I meant to say this in the last episode, but the fact that he's on Lian Yu is a little confusing to me, just mainly because we saw that Prometheus kind of blew it to hell. So I didn't think that much of the island would still be there. I figured it would kind of be like more desolate. I don't know. Maybe I'm not smart enough with geology. And is that geology? I think it's geology, like the study of, or no, that'd be just more nature stuff. I don't know. I assumed when he blew up the whole island that the island was like done for good, but apparently it's still standing somehow. But yeah, I mean, overall, okay episode, just a lot of stupid Felicity stuff. Oh, the Oliver stuff, I like that stuff. I really like the stuff that's going on in the prison. I like all the stories he's having to deal with, and um, the way he ends up handling the guard. I'll admit, didn't really like the guard, so I don't mind what he did to him. Like, it's one of those situations where it feels like the guard has a grudge against Oliver for no real good reason. He's like, oh, you're just a rich kid. I know your type. I had to deal with you all the time, and now you think you're out there playing the hero, but we know you're not actually a hero. And blah, I'm so much better than you because you're an inmate and I'm a guard, and I'm just gonna play my one note character type because that's all the screenwriters gave me. It's a cliche. It's been done, so I did not mind at all whenever Oliver got him kicked out of the prison. But yeah, I like what Oliver's having to go through though. Like he is trying to get information about Diaz from within inside the prison, and he's starting to realize that just being the pacifist and just being the good guy doesn't always work. Um, which is it's an interesting concept, that Oliver's having to deal with. Not always getting to be the hero. Sometimes you have to do things you don't feel comfortable with because it's what's needed to be done. So I don't know. I'm curious to see where else they're gonna take that, but yeah, I mean it's definitely a step down from the first episode, and a lot of it just has to do with Felicity. So we'll see if that continues in the third episode. So I'll see you guys there. And finally, episode 3, Crossing Lines. Felicity's still a bitch. I swear, like, it's like this show, at some point, the writers just decided to make her unlikable and did absolutely nothing to try to win our support of her back. Like, I talked about in the last episode, she's the worst, and she's still the worst. Like, goes along with Watson, actually gets Agent Watson involved. Because the thing is, I wasn't sure if Watson was going to do anything about it, but then after she had a little, row at her, which was kind of deserved. Watson is not the best character either. But you could see some of what she said to her about, how it's not fair that Oliver is in prison, and her deal was she was going to work on taking down Diaz. So it's like, it's not fair that Oliver, who worked so hard and put his life on the line to save people, is in prison, while Diaz continues to run around killing people. And you could see that kind of got to Watson. I'm like, I think this is going to help her, like, realize she's not been doing enough. And sure enough, she does. And she decides to join the team. She is okay with going with Felicity and Renee and Dinah on pretty much a vigilante mission, which I was never expecting to see from Watson. I'm like, okay, Watson, good for you. You finally get a chance to step up and, do what's right. And then the mission ends. Diaz gets away. And then Renee, we see him chasing after the silencer, which her name is Honor, we found out. And all of a sudden that cuts. And we see Felicity look up and say, the silencer got away. And all I can think is, no, she didn't. No, she didn't. No, Renee was right on her tail. We did not hear anything about him saying she got away. And all of a sudden you're telling her she got away. And sure enough, the next scene, Dinah's like, I can't believe Renee actually missed her. And Felicity's like, yeah, I know, I guess you just missed. And you could see Dinah caught on. She knew. She could tell, no, something's wrong here. And even though Watson lost her job, Felicity still had the freaking audacity to lie to her face and say, yeah, it sucks that they all got away. This woman put her life and her job on the line, and she didn't have a reason to. She could have continued to just be the annoying agent, the one that just says whatever, I got what I wanted. I got Oliver in prison, that's all I ever wanted. But no, she had a change of heart. She said, you know what? I'm willing to help. I'm willing to try to take Diaz down because it's the right thing to do. And what does Felicity do? Oh, well, I guess that's nice. But no, you still didn't do enough. No, you didn't do enough. You didn't do enough to start with. So you know what? No, you can lose your job. You can get demoted, okay? We're going to kidnap this girl, and we're going to basically keep her prisoner and not tell you about it. You can go back to wherever you came from and work a desk job because, you didn't do enough for me. It's what I want. It's just... You realize how unlikable this makes her, don't you, show writers? Like, there's no way that the people who write for the show don't realize how annoying and unlikable Felicity is. And yet, somehow, they still try to portray her as one of the good guys. Oh, it's Felicity, guys. Isn't she the best? Isn't Felicity is just so awesome, isn't she? Because, I mean, Watson even had... I can't remember her line now. I don't remember what she said. But she said something to Felicity about, like, you're such and such. Like, she basically complimented her, saying that she was really good, or, she's one of the best. Or, I don't even remember. I just remember hearing it and thinking to myself, is she, though? Like, the more that she does, the more that I see from her, she's getting worse. She just continues to get worse. And it's like people don't... I'm glad Renee kind of at least calls her out on it a little bit, but even he's going along with it still. He's still helping her do all of this. And that's the thing. Even when people disagree with her, it's not like they stop her. It's like, I don't know if I disagree or if I agree with you on this, Felicity, but you still let her do it anyway, don't you? Nobody wants to stop her for some reason. It's so bizarre to me. I've never seen a character do so many wrong things and have so many people disagree with her on what she's doing and just continue to be able to do it. Because it's Felicity, guys. She's the best, isn't she? She's just so cute and quirky. She can get away with whatever she wants. So, aside from that, the thing with Lila and Diggle and Curtis going to wherever they went, Switzerland, don't really know what all that was about. I guess it might tie into the story later on. Lila talks about it like it's some big deal, whatever they're about to deal with. Like she says she caught wind of something. So maybe it'll tie in later, but for now it just seemed to put like a little unnecessary strain on the relationship that got fixed at the end of the episode. So I don't know if that was just a detour or if what they were doing is actually going to have relevance to the main plot, but I guess we'll find out. And that's about it for the kind of bad and average stuff. The good stuff is all focused on Oliver right now. I mean, everything going on within that prison is the stuff that does have me interested. Because it's good stuff. Oliver is being pushed to a limit that he hasn't had to go to in a while. And it's all to find out information about Diaz. And it's almost like he's starting to realize he keeps getting pushed to these limits. At first it was like, I'm just going to bide my time, I'm just going to keep my head down, and eventually I'll get out of here. Then he realized that's not enough. People's lives are still in danger. His life is still in danger. So then he realized, no, I got to fight back. But even then, now he's got to find information about Diaz because his family's in danger. So then he's got to, deal with this one guard for Brick in the last episode. Well, apparently that wasn't enough for Brick. He actually wants Oliver dead, and I think killing that guard, or not killing him, but getting rid of that guard basically let Brick have more control over what was going on. Because you can see they set up like this whole fighting arena almost, which was a really cool setup. I will say that too. A lot of the prison like sets look really good. And the arena that they had set up, it had like the slanted walls, and so it's set up for some really cool moves where you run on the wall and then flip over the guy or something. I mean, it was a pretty awesome setup. And then ultimately Oliver used that to get up to Brick. He's just like, you can't get to the demon, you have to get to level 2, and that's when he decides to stab all the guards, which I did think it was a little bit of a weird decision to start the episode with that. It's almost like, oh, Oliver killed a guard, guys. Oh, why did it happen? Intensity. But the reason he stabbed the guard is to get to level 2, and honestly, you didn't need that scene at the beginning. I felt the intensity in the scene without it. So I don't know, it was just a weird start to the episode. But yeah, ultimately decides to get sent to level 2. I'll be curious to see what level 2 entails. Because I've already liked what they've done with level 1, apparently. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good setup, though. All the story stuff around the prison right now is interesting. And a lot of it is just around Oliver kind of dealing with what's going on. And, the little wormy guy or whatever that's kind of teaming up with him, I did have a thought that maybe he's working with Diaz. Maybe he's somebody that was kind of sent in. Because it seems really weird that he just keeps gravitating toward Oliver so much. You would think most people would just be like, oh no, but I don't know, maybe there's a reason for that. The first thing that pops to mind is he's like a guy that was sent in by Diaz to kind of be under the radar, somebody Oliver wouldn't suspect. But there could be another reason, like maybe the Green Arrow did something for him in the past, or he saw the Green Arrow and he's just like, when I saw you, I knew you'd protect me in this prison. So I don't know. We'll probably find out more about him as it goes on, I assume. I don't think we've seen the last of him. But yeah, I'm curious to see what level 2 holds for Oliver, and that's about the only thing I've got interest in, because everything else. Oh boy. Diaz is still not an interesting villain, by the way. I know this is kind of a last minute thing to throw in, but again, they're setting him up as the big bad for this season, and this whole thing, he's talking to these people at the end. He's like, I felt all the pain whenever my body hit the water and all my bones break. I turned it into something. He injects whatever he got at CDC and he punches the wall and leaves a dent. He's like, strength. I'm like, ooh, isn't he so bad he could punch a wall? Again, there's nothing about him that makes him interesting. He's just another bad guy. Like, really. That's all he is. He got a bunch of power in Star City for no explanation, through no explanation. But aside from that, he's just another bad guy. But they want to treat him like he's the biggest bad guy Oliver's ever faced, guys. Oh, he's so bad. I don't know. Again, just my opinion. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these 3 episodes? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Arrow reviews, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.